Before we begin, I'd just like to make an apology to our listeners at home. I noticed during the previous week that neither of us made a joke about the character Mundy in the Cloverfield Paradox in relation to him losing an arm over the course of the film. I would like to correct that right now by making this observation. Hey Matt, you know Chris O'Dowd's character in the Cloverfield Paradox?
Yeah.
Did you notice that when his arm was taken off,
Yeah.
he became disabled?
Brilliant!
Play the theme. Welcome back. I'd just like to point out that the joke wasn't that he's disabled.
No.
It was a reference specifically to Chris O'Dowd's character
It's not a
Roy
joke.
in the IT Crowd,
It's not a
the
joke
Channel
about
4
disabled people.
sitcom. Specifically, the episode we've been going to see a gay musical. And Cloudy masquerades a member of
What is the joke about gay people, Chris?
Yeah, well, no, I mean, Willies, I like Willies is the song in that episode. And Moss thought it was fabulous. Welcome to the Big Downcast, your weekly one-stop shop for the hidden codes for the antidote. I am Chris, aka The Watcher, ?
I am Chris's disembodied arm from another universe.
What were you all about?
Give me a marker and I'll tell you. give him a pen. Give me a pen so I can write you a cryptic hint, and then take the pen away from me so I can be of no further use to you.
Except for a very brief sight gag in the closing 10 minutes.
Yes. Yes.
But enough about that. This week we're on to Hearty Affair. Only a couple
Hearty
of things
Affair.
to talk about. The main body of this week's episode is Black Panther. We've seen it. We've
seen
devoured it. We digested meats as we discussed it. And now
Yes.
we're ready to talk about it to you guys. We'll also dip into spoiler territory with Black Panther, but we'll of course give you a big old warning, time codes and
Fair
description.
warning.
And we've got a load of your emails to get through, so stick around for those. But,
Aye, indeed.
But first, Matthew.
Yes.
Well, ooh.
I'm eager to get your take on this because this trailer came out. This week
Yeah.
for this new movie with Tom Hardy in.
Oh wow. I love Tom Hardy.
It's weird because he looks like he's in a CT scan machine for like the whole trailer, and there's some weird voiceover, and then it looks like there's some actiony stuff in it, but I'm still not sure what it's actually about or what it is.
What's the movie called?
Apparently, it's called Venom.
Probably about some poison or something, isn't it?
He's been poisoned. Is he being poisoned?
Yeah. Super Bowl trailers came out last week, and we talked about all of those. And then, off the heels of the back of all the Super Bowl trailers,
Off the back of the heels,
Sony decided to,
in their infinite wisdom,
we got film too, guys. And while you're all searching for trailers online, we're going to put ours out, which means we didn't put it out during Super Bowl. We didn't spend millions of dollars on it, so, fair enough. I've got a film too. It's for a movie coming out in October. It's the first film in Sony's loosely Marvel Cinematic Universe, but never directly connected to the MCU movie series, that are all spun out of Spider-Man properties they own.
Good choice.
And the first one is Venom.
You know what I think when I think about Spider-Man characters who are only loosely connected to Spider-Man and could work very, very well without any connection to him whatsoever?
Aye, what do you think?
Literally anyone but Venom.
I mean, Punisher.
Literally anyone but...
Punisher is a Spider-Man originated character that works well away from Spider-Man.
Any other Spider-Man villain would work better as a solo venture than Venom, who is essentially...
evil Spider-Man.
Basically.
Yeah.
To the point of being all in a black suit with the spider logo on his chest.
Spider-Man eyes on his face.
Yeah, Spider-Man
shoots
eyes.
webs.
Just what the... But we don't see any of that in this fucking trailer.
No.
We see, a flash of black goo in a container.
We see a sort of almost glimpse of Michelle Williams. A sort of almost glimpse of Riz Ahmed. And lots of Tom Hardy. Also, him reading voice. Right, here's the thing. They've said that their biggest inspiration for this take on Venom apparently is the 90s solo series, so like Lethal Protector and War of the Symbiotes, things like that. So the voiceover is suitably like comic book thought box narration stuff. But here's the thing. It reads like an early 90s churned out to cash in on the character sort of stuff.
It reads like...
It sounds atrocious.
It reads like, and take it from someone who's been reading some fucking early Spawn recently. It reads like fucking early Spawn, is what it reads like. And, you know, despite what the sales said, that shit ain't good.
No.
It ain't good.
But here's the thing. This film has been produced by Avi Arad, executive produced by Avi Arad, who's been an executive producer of movies for donkey's years, like since the early 90s, primarily attached to Marvel projects. Because Avi Arad was a bigwig at Marvel in the early 90s.
He's like a lamprey, you can't shake him off.
Because his company...
He's got a circular mouth with rows of teeth.
Because his company saved Marvel in part from its bankruptcy, because he was the head and CEO of Toy Biz.
Mm-hmm.
Who merged with chunks of Marvel and bought a bunch of Marvel and whatnot in the early 90s as part of merchandise deals to help save the company, keep it going, and make them focus on even more toy-related content. In the 80s, they'd done a bit of that with, like, Secret Wars, for example, like where it was a comic book that existed primarily to have toys attached to it, etc., etc. Avi Arad is very much stuck in the early 90s in terms of what he thinks is cool.
He's also in his early 90s.
He is an older gentleman. But when I say he's stuck in the early 90s in terms of what he thinks is cool, I don't mean like his tastes are dated. I mean like that's all he knows. Like that was obviously when he absorbed the most information about the company he was part buying. And one of his biggest obsessions is, as you can see through the Toy Biz stuff throughout the 90s, and has always been Venom. And the early 90s obsession with Venom and Carnage that came out of a few years of them being in the 80s and whatnot.
Them symbiotes, man.
He loves the symbiotes. And he's the reason Venom and the Black Suit plot was forced into Spider-Man 3 against Sam Raimi's wishes. He's the reason why a Venom solo movie has been something they've been talking about since 2007. And he's the reason why it's happened. Avi Arad also used to be the boss of Kevin Feige, who has since gone on to become a world-building, universe-constructing executive producer in his own right, head of Marvel Studios and their work with Disney and everything. Kevin Feige's done a fantastic job building all that up.
Mm-hmm.
And you can kind of tell Avi Arad hates it. Now, obviously we don't know them personally, but when it came to the Spider-Man deal, Avi Arad was going to be the executive producer of Spider-Man Homecoming, and Kevin Feige was like, no, I don't want him in that role. And as part of the acquisition and everything, Sony went, okay, fair enough. So you get the sense Avi Arad's like, how dare you? Well, I'm going to go... Hey, Amy Pascal, you with the stupid ideas and the weird face. Come over here. She's got a weird face. I can talk, but you know what I mean. Like, she says, come over here. We're going to do these Spider-Man spin-offs we were planning for the Amazing Spider-Man films, but we're just going to have to tweak them a bit. And Deadpool was R-rated, so we're going to make them R-rated, and we're going to do a Black Cat and Silver Sable movie, but first we're going to do a Venom movie.
Yeah.
Why? Because those characters played a prominent role in a lot of the Spider-Man media of the 90s, and Avi Arad knows about them, because that's the only time he absorbed information about the comics that he was funding.
Oh yeah, he was quite active in the 90s. Let's have a quick rundown of the shit that Avi Arad has produced.
Yeah.
Shall we?
Let's do this.
And see where it all went right.
He's a very active producer, an executive producer in the John Peters sense. If you know the stories about John Peters' work on Batman and stuff, for example, and Superman properties. Like, he's the kind who comes in and goes, oh, that's great. Hey, can we change the costume to blue? Why? I just think it'll look better in blue. Okay, bye. Like, he's that kind of producer. And then they have to do it because he has a massive stake in the financing. What sort of stuff has Avi Arad stuck his snout into?
Lots of cartoon series.
Mm-hmm. All of them with merchandise attached?
I believe so. First up being King Arthur and the Knights of Justice.
That's early 90s,
also,
right?
93.
Yeah.
Swiftly followed by the Double Dragon cartoon. And then the Botmaster cartoon.
Oh, Jesus.
Fuck knows what that's about. Then, in swift succession, followed by the Iron Man, Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, and Incredible Hulk cartoons.
The 90s ones, aka the ones that were never anywhere near as good as X-Men.
Quick pause for the Generation X straight-to-video movie, which is a backdoor pilot for a series that never went anywhere because...
Yeah! Didn't that get a TX in the UK on Sky One? But like, that was the only channel that ever showed it.
It might have done, yeah.
Yeah, oh god, yeah.
I wonder if that's available. I'm happy with tracking down. To maybe do something with in the future,
In the
perhaps.
near future.
Meets Silver Surfer, the animated series.
Which was fine.
Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Oh my god, the TV movie!
Yes.
With David Hasselhoff as Nick Fury.
Which, get this, this'll...
Is this about who wrote it?
No.
Because
This'll bake your noodle.
Oh?
That came out the same year as another Avi Arad produced superhero movie,
Oh?
Blade.
Wow.
And the David Hasselhoff Nick Fury movie came out in the same year.
Just to clarify, the Nick Fury movie was a straight-to-TV movie, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, but even so... Well, here's the thing. I think he's executive producer on these projects simply because he was a big wig with the States in Marvel.
I think you can definitely tell which of these had more of a... I don't think he had a big hand in Blade, personally.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the Spider-Man Unlimited and Avengers United Day Stand animated series, which are both Trek.
Both late 90s and both feel like an early 90s product.
X-Men Evolution.
Which is fine. It's got its fans.
And then, of course, the holy triumvirate of early 2000s superhero movies of X-Men, Blade 2, and Spider-Man, which, went pretty well in general.
Yeah, good films, decent films.
Daredevil, 2003. Not so good.
Not so good.
X2.
Pretty great.
Pretty good. Hulk. Not so
Trek.
good. The Punisher.
Fun!
Deeply flawed, but nevertheless. But again, like, the more successful ones of these, I feel like he hasn't had much of a hand in. Spider-Man 2.
Excellent movie.
Blade Trinity.
Dreadful movie. Both within a year of each other.
Elektra.
Ugh.
Man-Thing.
I've still never seen that.
I've never
it was
seen
straight
it.
to DVD, wasn't it?
I think it's got Christian Slater in it. Has it?
He who knows fear burns at the touch of the Man-Thing.
No, it's not got Christian Slater.
Sounds like a really gothic porno.
I'm thinking of Alone in the Dark. Fantastic Four.
The
Tim Story one,
yeah. Fun, but really crap.
Yeah. X-Men The Last Stand.
Terrible.
Ghost Rider.
Terrible.
Spider-Man 3.
Terrible.
Fantastic Four. Rise of the Silver Surfer.
Terrible.
Bratz the movie. Bring on the toys! Bring on the toys! Can we have the toys? You wait. We're going to get toyed up again in a minute.
Oh, God.
Iron Man.
The 2008 movie.
2008 Iron Man.
Because it was a Marvel property, a Paramount Pictures film, and Marvel Studios had not formed to the way that it had yet. Because I think the first Marvel Studios movie outright was Captain America. It might have been. Captain America The Avengers.
Iron Man 2.
Oh, that was still Paramount. I think it was Paramount distributed, that one. Yeah. Disney were there from 2010.
Because the next one we got was Incredible Hulk, which was, again, which he also produced.
Yeah.
Along with...
because Iron Man's Paramount, Incredible Hulk is Universal. But both of them are under the Marvel Studios banner, which is why they were able to be connected.
Along with Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance.
I've still not seen that.
It's not good. But
it's got Idris Elba and Anthony Stewart Head in it.
And Kieran Hines.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, of course he takes over from Peter Fonda as Mephisto. And probably has more fun doing it, I imagine.
Yeah, right. The Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Also known as the All-Right Spider-Man.
Also known as wow, these two have really cute chemistry. Oh, it's a Spider-Man movie. Oh, I guess.
Back to toys for Robo Sapien Rebooted.
Oh my god, that was a straight-to-DVD thing, wasn't it? Where Robo Sapien, instead of being that big, bulky, cool robot toy from the early 2000s, was now a cute little robot toy.
Robo Sapien Rebooted.
Yeah.
Also, Pac-Man and the Ghostly Adventures series, which ran for, 2 years.
What year is that down as?
2013 to 2015.
Isn't that interesting that that's around the time Kevin Feige is now in full flux as the head of Marvel Studios?
Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
Less about that, the better.
All of his Sony stuff now, essentially.
Airbound. What the fuck is Airbound? Oh, it's an anime, so he must have been producing the merchandise off that shit. Kong, King of the Apes, which is another Netflix animated series.
Which is dreadful. I don't know if you've seen any of it.
Tarzan and Jane, which I believe
Again,
is another...
dreadful.
Yeah,
Both of them are like updating the properties to be superhero shows.
Yeah. Funny that.
Yeah,
Funny.
and there's not much merch out, so obviously it didn't work out.
Ghost in the Shell.
The 2016...
The 2017 live action...
Sony distributed by any chance? Yeah, there you go.
There we go.
So at this point, basically, he's just producing what he can through Sony.
I like the fact that the person who edited this Wikipedia article felt the need to point out that he was executive producer only on Spider-Man Homecoming.
Well, there you go.
Also, upcoming, he's got Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, Venom, Silver and Black.
Oh, Christ.
Morbius.
Oh, yeah, they announced that, didn't they? Oh, God.
And Borderlands.
And that film adaptation of Borderlands?
Apparently so.
What? Oh, my God, he's made you unwell.
I'm honestly shocked that he's picked up on something that's post-1996.
It'll be because, like, he finally went to his nephew and was like, look, I was working on the Venom movie.
But you
I
look
brought you this lunchbox. And he's like, screw that. What are you playing? Borderlands.
We'll
make that then.
Let's make this for the kids. But yeah, look at the stuff he's working on post 98, and it's all 90s stuff. Like he did a fucking Ghost Rider movie in 2012. Could you make a more irrelevant property in 2012 than fucking Ghost Rider? Jesus, I like Ghost Rider in theory. Yeah,
I'm looking at the book that they ripped the designs off from here, actually. Trailer Tears and Road to Damnation. The two Clayton Crane illustrated Garth Ennis ones.
He's a good drawer, that Clayton Crane.
Clayton Crane is a spectacular artist. Clayton Crane is the main reason why I picked up some series that I couldn't give a crap about, just because I wanted to see his artwork.
Clayton Crane. Also great name.
It's a comic book name, isn't it?
Great name, Clayton Crane.
Clayton Crane, mild-mannered digital artist by day.
It's like Doc Shaner.
Doc Shaner, mild-mannered digital artist by day.
Draws a great Plastic Man.
Plastic Man, mild-mannered digital artist by day.
So yeah, I mean, Avi Arad has had his fingers in some really, really rotten pies. And this looks like it's going to be kind of the same. And we've talked for like 17 minutes about it, and I don't want to say any more about it. We've spent more time on it, talking about it so far in this episode, than whatever poor intern did editing the trailer at Sony.
I'm assuming we're going down an Ultimate Spider-Man. The symbiote is a thing created in a lab route, or the symbiote is a thing
there's crashed,
found on Earth, and the lab have experimented on.
There's like wreckage in the trailer.
So why is it going to look like Venom?
Yeah.
Unless the movie will explicitly reference Spider-Man's existence.
Why is it going to look like Venom indeed? And also, I feel like this was thrown together last minute out of the little footage they had ready.
They just wanted to steal some thunder, basically.
There was next to no visual effects in this.
Yeah.
It's just voiceover and stuff happening.
Their trailer came out on, I think it was Tuesday. It was like the day we recorded the last episode.
Yeah.
Later that evening, the 10 years of Marvel Studios promos dropped.
Yeah.
Almost like Kevin Feige was going, nice one, Avi. Roll out the footage.
Do you think that Marvel Studios just wait to release their stuff until another studio is like,
I think they bag it.
Yeah, we've got this thing we want to show off, and they just go, fuck off.
I think it's a bit unfair in some respects, but at the same time, it shows that they have everything ready.
It's more of a
like they've got. But although I wouldn't be surprised if, in this instance, it was just coincidence. I wouldn't be surprised in this instance.
Yeah.
It was either coincidence or Sony had got a hold of the release date of the Marvel 10 Years of Marvel thing and went, we're going to put our shit out now. It's going to blow everyone away, this footage of Tom Hardy narrating some explosions. No, and I'll tell you why.
It's the most generic narration as well.
Every key cast member from Marvel 10 Years thing with social media posted about it at the exact same moment.
Yeah.
Which says to me that it is a big scheduled thing of make sure everyone's
go.
got it. So they can't have done that on a whim. It must have been pre-planned.
Yeah.
which actually lends a bit more to the theory that the other companies, that Warner's and such, have been the ones trying to outdo Marvel's announcements.
Yeah.
Because they all seem to coincide at the same time, but Marvel seem to have a lot of planning behind them, and you can't plan it. Like, the only time I think Marvel have deliberately done something to try and irk the others that we know of for definite was when Winter Soldier came out, and they announced, they'd announced the release date of another Marvel movie and their slate in 2016, and DC then went, well, we're releasing one that weekend as well.
It was Civil War.
It's Batman v Superman, and then Winter Soldier came out in 2014,
blew
everyone away, and Marvel went, okay, so the movie that we're releasing in Easter of 2016, it's the third Captain America movie.
It's Civil War.
And they just stared down at DC's eyes, and DC fucking blinked and moved. Because they were like, yeah, that Winter Soldier did really well. We do not want to compete. Even with Batman v Superman, we know we will lose money if these two movies open on the same weekend.
A little squeak came out.
Yeah.
And that squeak was the script for Batman v Superman.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fuck, man.
Do you remember that? When it was happening, it was like, oh my god, they're actually going to go head-to-head on a weekend. This is nuts. And then they announced that it was going to be a third Captain America movie after Winter Soldier, and they were like, yeah, no, we're going to move. Like, we're going to move our release date to... I think they originally moved it... Oh, this was after... no, Batman v Superman was meant to come out the tail end of 2015.
Yeah.
And then they moved it because of Star Wars.
And then they had to move it again.
And then they moved it because it was Captain America. So they moved it back, and then they brought it forward slightly.
And it just still got fucking pummeled.
It's mental, innit?
Because it was shit.
So, fellow Marvel shill, should we talk about Black Panther?
Let's talk about Black Panther. This movie we got paid an awful lot of money to say nice things about. When are they going
to send that check?
Oh, I've already got mine.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, it's in the bank.
Oh.
What are you going to do with your bit when you get it?
I'm going to buy an orange grove. Yeah. So I can build something on it one day, and then say to someone, this used to be orange groves.
I like oranges. Oranges are good. I think I'm going to use my Marvel shill fortune to buy every single copy in existence of Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice on Blu-ray and DVD, and all the film stock copies and any and all hard drives which contain a copy of the film. And I'm going to grind them into a fine paste and use it and rub it all over my body while I gently masturbate with the pages of Amazing Spider-Man.
Oh.
That's my Marvel shill fantasy.
Oh. That's our Black Panther review, everybody.
Hey,
we'll see you next week for more Big Dame K's.
Did you get that we were kidding?
I don't think they did.
Did you get that we were kidding and that we're not shills for Marvel?
They just happen to be making better movies.
I don't think we get a lot of that shit anyway from our listeners.
We don't now.
Yeah, it's
Black Panther. 2018 superhero motion picture starring Chadwick Boseman, directed by Ryan Coogler. It is the 18th movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It is a soft follow-on, giggity, from Captain America Civil War. In the events of that movie, King T'Challa, as he is now, witnessed the death of his father when the United Nations Embassy was attacked during that story.
Yeah.
So after T'Chaka's funeral, it's a case of them now crowning T'Challa. Black Panther is about him returning home, about him taking his place, not quite ready to accept his father's position yet because he doesn't feel ready to let go of his dad.
Mm-hmm.
It's about his family sort of helping him get ready to become the king of Wakanda, this technologically advanced nation hidden away from the rest of the world in deepest Africa, whilst at the same time someone with a stake at the throne, a stake in the fight for the throne, and their own agenda for Wakanda's resources, makes a long mission to head back to their birth home to start some shit. Where to start?
Oh. First of all, how good is this film?
Very.
um,
It's one of the most visually striking films I've seen in the last few years.
believe the hype.
Yeah.
The great
Yeah.
thing about this being predominantly about an African civilization, albeit a fictional one, is it allows you to extrapolate sort of sci-fi design from an African base as opposed to the
Afrofuturism.
Yeah, Afrofuturism, as opposed to the mainly European American base that we see so much in mainstream stuff. So even though it's bringing that stuff into the mainstream, which a lot of people haven't been exposed to, and it's just gorgeous to look at. It is gorgeous to look at, and it's great to watch and beautiful to just let it wash over you. This is a visual treat for your eyes. It's an aural treat for your ears.
It's the first Marvel movie where we're introduced. I'd say this is the third time in the MCU where we're introduced to a civilization separate from sort of how we know things to be, or how we sort of observe stuff. And it's the first time where it has successfully been a stamp of identity of its very own that draws you in very quickly. Like, Guardians is great, but we've seen outer space settings before. Asgard is pretty cool, but they kind of waste its potential quite a bit.
They don't really do much.
Yeah, they try more in the second movie, but the tone of the second movie doesn't make you give a damn about it.
Well, yeah.
Whereas Wakanda and the sort of the tribes and cultures that make it up and surround it, just this is a full world. You believe it the moment the movie starts.
Yeah.
There's a really nice moment where you first enter Wakanda in the film. You see in the trailer, like, the ship sort of goes through an invisible barrier and enters Wakanda proper.
So
and in the film, T'Challa, just before they pass through, says, "This never gets old." And you're like, oh god, here we go.
No,
and you cross through and you're just like, oh my god,
old.
here it is. Like, here we are. What's really nice as well is Black Panther isn't about Black Panther.
It's an ensemble piece.
It's an ensemble film.
And what a fucking ensemble. Like, let's have a look at some of these cast members, Christopher. Fucking Chadwick Boseman heading up as Black Panther. We saw him in Civil War.
He nailed it in Civil War. He told a cracking Black Panther story in the middle of a story about the Avengers and the Winter Soldier in a way where he stood out. And, like, despite it being the introduction of the new Spider-Man, he was the standout, like,
he's just
performance.
fantastic. He's just got charisma in fucking spades and screen presence.
Yeah. But he's also sort of, he's got that slight alien quality of like a royal who's sort of, he's trying to keep, he's putting on a persona to a point, but it's not a facade. It's I have to come across this way and I'm going to do it right. So he sort of feels slightly off kilter all the time, but in a way where it's like, no, nice, I believe it. He's a king.
What's nice about the ensemble nature of this is you get to see him interact with different people at different levels, and how that facade sort of changed, which is really neat. Because we see his anger.
We've seen him angry before. Like we've seen his anger drive his decisions. In this movie, we get to see his compassion and his sort of romantic side and the sense of humour he's got, and
his family relationships,
his relationship with his sister Shuri in particular,
who we'll come to in a moment.
Yeah,
we've got Michael B. Jordan as Eric Killmonger Stevens.
Yes,
who
based on the character Eric Killmonger. Full stop.
Killmonger.
Yeah,
he's credited as just Eric Killmonger. I can't remember what his Wakandan name is but yeah,
he was born Eric Stevens in the film. But yeah, it's
either way. Michael B. Jordan,
MCU villains, definitely in the top end.
Well fleshed out, great motivation, believable personal stakes.
You completely like Vulture last year in Spider-Man: Homecoming. You completely see where he's coming from. You get what he's trying to do.
Yeah,
but the film also makes no bones about, this guy's a bad person. He is doing the worst thing here to try and get what he wants. Yeah. He's doing the absolute worst option.
And also he's played by Michael B. Jordan, so...
Yeah, who looks like a tank! I was reading before, same personal trainer he had for Creed. So he obviously was I want to stay like this, possibly get a bit bigger. you're going to help me. It's like, good call. Because he looks like a beast.
He does.
And that's not just because of the scarring he's got in the movies. Well, that actually makes his skin look sort of scaled and prickly. Like, he's gone on Victor Zaz. Like, he's made a nick for every murder he's committed.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
they get into his backstory, and it's like, he's got a high kill count.
Yeah, they switch him up. Well, I like the comic book one. He's a kid from America.
Yeah,
but his direction in life is a bit different in this. So, but he's very much they've obviously picked him because it's like he's one of Black Panther's more physical nemesis. Like he's the one who's a physical match for him. And they're like, we want to see some of that. We want to let the character shine. We want to let the character of both of these men motivate the conflict they get into. He's great. He's a really good baddie.
Yeah,
he's a really good baddie. Which again, the MCU has been their consistent weak point. Is really solid bad guys.
I think they've really started to get past that now.
Yeah, like by either allowing actors like Cate Blanchett to play with the script, or having characters like Vulture and Killmonger, who it's like you get them, you completely get them, but you know they need to be stopped.
Also, he's called Killmonger.
Yeah, well,
he's called Killmonger.
Yes, he goddamn is.
Lupita Nyong'o.
Yes.
Nakia, she's
brilliant. She's a Wakandan spy.
So a Wakandan agent in the outside world.
Yeah, they're called what are they called?
Dogs.
War dogs. But she's sort of not defected from them, but she's kind of gone.
She's a bit native.
I'll report back later because she's helping people in Nigeria.
Yeah,
and she's trying to sort of stop slave trades and things like that in Nigeria. So she's basically the only superhero in the movie.
And she's also
she's the superhero in the movie. She's the one who's cut off from everything and gone, I'm just going to save people now. That's what I do.
And she's got a bit of a romantic entanglement with T'Challa.
They're exes, but it ended in a mutual way, it seems, and they still care a lot about each other.
Still holding a candle for each other.
Yeah. And they play excellently off of each other as well.
Yes, and then they sort of form a power trio with Denai Guerrera's Okoye, who's the general of Wakanda, and she's the general
cool.
the Dora Milaje, which are the all-female warrior class, which are the king's bodyguard, and so her and Lupita Nyong'o's Nakia and T'Challa kind of form a little bit of a trio.
Basically, if you'd stuck them in the climax of Iron Man 2, they would have dealt with all those freaking robot sentries in like a quarter of the time it took Tony and Rhodey to do it.
There's an awful lot of great action in this movie, and an awful lot of great action being carried out by like amazing women, just being
and
strong
giant freaking
and aggressive
spears. And giant freaking spears that are also pulse cannons and aren't detectable by metal detectors, and you can carry them through and never get noticed. And oh my god,
Martin Freeman returns from Civil War as Everett K. Ross.
Yes, again,
being Martin Freeman,
which is nice. I didn't know too much about that character, but I believe that character originated within. I can't remember what the book was. It was it wasn't Black Panther, but he's a character who's become associated more with Black Panther books.
Yeah, and
is usually a more comedic part.
Yeah.
He's definitely got some lines in this, but like, they keep him very strictly to his character from Civil War, in that he is. I was going to say he's our eyes here, but he's not. The film. We were talking about this with Lucy on the way home. Like, it sort of is a bit Fifth Element, in that it just kind of
drops you into a fully formed world. Yeah,
it's relying on you having a previous connection with T'Challa to go, okay, take me on this ride. And even then, it's relying on just you meeting these characters and getting to like them to go, all right, show me this world.
And you do.
They're all so likable. But Everett K. Ross is a nice addition, and he doesn't feel out of place in it in terms of him being, the separate entity who's brought into it. Like, he fits in nicely.
Yeah. We got Daniel Kaluuya as Wakabe, who's one of the... Basically, like, Wakanda's made up of 5 tribes, and the tribe that he's a part of, I think he's the commander of, like, basically guard the borders. Yeah. So they're along the borders of Wakanda, sort of disguised as shepherds and farmers.
Because the way the world knows Wakanda as a farming...
Yeah, so it's a poor farming nation, basically.
Yeah.
We've got no exports.
Yeah. So, like, when T'Chaka appeared at the United Nations thing and to talk about, the Wakandans who were killed in the events of Civil War at the start, he was there to defend, as far as the world was concerned, a small farming nation and some of the people who lost their lives. And to be like, look, we can't let this stand. It needs to be dealt with. And whereas, really, Wakanda is more than equipped to deal with sort of big threats and things like that.
Partly, in fact, to Wakabi's fellows.
Yeah, and his soldiers and his rhinoceri.
His cavalry.
Yeah, his rhinoceros.
Daniel Kaluuya,
which
Oscar
are very much
British actor.
Part of a fight scene. I don't want to give anything away until the spoiler section, but if you ever wanted to see rhinos on the battlefield being badass, now's your time.
Just so good.
But Daniel Kaluuya, every time I see him, every single time I see him in Summer, my first thought is, oh my god, Tea Leaf has done really well.
Yeah.
I can never shake it, because I was first introduced to him because of Psychoville.
Yeah.
And he's wonderful in everything he's in. But
he's really good.
It's just so cool to see him, like, in a Marvel movie. I mean, it's weird whenever you see anyone from sort of small British TV beginnings in a Marvel movie. Like, I mean, you know, Martin Freeman in this, you're like, it's the guy from The Office. Like, what is going on?
Yeah.
It's so
bizarre.
strange, but it's wonderful.
It's bizarre.
It's really cool to see them getting sort of the chance to play in these big sandboxes. And Daniel Kaluuya is excellent, because he plays, again, a very conflicted character, who you understand his motivations completely.
Letitia Wright. Shuri. T'Challa's sister and Princess of Wakanda.
I think she's the standout for me.
She is wonderful in this. She's sort of this perky youth who sort of wants to move Wakanda in a more futuristic direction and sort of shuns tradition.
Yeah.
But is also, you know, respectful and loyal to the country. And she's if Black Panther is James Bond, but from Central Africa, Shuri is Q.
Yes. That's a perfect description.
To the point where there is a whole Q
there's a moment
showing
of, like,
you his gadget scene, which is fucking great.
But I think the best part about her approach to the character and her performance is she's just a charm factory. Like, she's such a charming performer, and especially in this role.
Oh, she's wonderful.
She's basically playing cocky but not irritating child prodigy.
Yeah.
And she's excellent. I mean, this shows how compelling and enjoyable she is to watch. She references one of the most annoying fucking memes on the planet, and it made me laugh. Yeah. And I was like, fair enough. And I also thought, wow, the kid who came up with that meme must be shitting his pants in the theatre right now, going, I did that.
Nice.
It's in a Black Panther movie.
She's just fab.
She's brilliant.
She's just wonderful to watch.
And again, like, her devices and the stuff she comes up with, some of the technology in this movie is fascinating.
And her and T'Challa's relationship and the way he is with her.
Well, we're at that point now as well. Oh god, there's a bit, again, I won't spoil it, but there's a bit where she gets him to test a piece of equipment she's made for him.
So good.
And she starts recording it on her wrist device, and he's like, why are you recording? She's like, for just research.
You know what's coming next.
You know what's coming next. And it's great. I mean, that might be my favourite line in the whole movie. Delete that footage. So good.
And it's full of little interplay moments like that. And like, the Marvel movies at this point are renowned for their snappy dialogue. And this just runs with it. But it just still feels so... Like, in some movies it feels forced. In this one it just feels completely natural.
Do you know why I think that is? I think because this film is very... In terms of other Marvel movies, if we compare it to another one in the MCU, the one that comes to mind is the first Thor. And what I mean by that is royalty and family and legacy and lineage play a big part. And a lot of the dialogue in this is very Shakespearean in terms of, like, it's
Shakespearean in its scope as well.
Yeah.
It is about kings and lineages and dynasties.
Yeah, whereas in Thor, those moments that alleviated it came from the interactions on Midgard and with Jane and her friends, and like the Warriors 3 interacting on Earth and everything. In this, they're not godlike beings, they're not Shakespearean characters. No. There is ritual, there is tradition, there is royal heritage and that stuff, but like, it means that when you have those little light moments, they don't feel out of place. They almost feel like everyone's sort of dropped their, like, princely veil for a second.
Yeah.
So, like, he is a certain way in front of his people, and then he'll talk with his sister, and you see a sister and a brother.
Yeah.
And
it's wonderful.
Yeah.
And what makes Chadwick Boseman so good in this is the way that he sort of flits out of those different relationships. And just how adaptable he is. Who else we got in this cast? We
Oh,
got,
and the tech is nuts. Her tech is insane and fascinating. And we're at that point in the Marvel Cinematic Universe where we can believe in a suit that appears out of nowhere.
Yeah,
we don't have to see Stark being screwed into a suit anymore.
We've come far enough now that it feels like natural evolution. Andy Serkis returning as Ulysses Claw.
The South African arms dealer and thief from Age of Ultron.
I just love seeing Andy Serkis in live action on screen. Like, in things and not as a CGI man. Like,
because he is a pioneer in performance capture technology and acting, but it is really nice to see him on screen. That being said,
such a great expressive face for the live action. It's so... Oh.
But he is also partially a digital effect in this movie. Anyone familiar with the character of Claw from the comics? They don't go as far as you're probably hoping, but they do deliver.
Well,
you do get a taste of the guy who's gone up against the Fantastic Four and the Avengers.
You've seen him in the trailers with his arm blaster, I guess.
They don't go as far as the comics, but it is like a sound vibration related thing because it's part vibranium. So it's about sound waves and it's a cannon, but it's a prosthetic arm that is fully motioned, but then it will split apart like something out of a science anatomy book.
I don't think
and this cannon will stick forward.
You see him with it, and it's like it looks like it doesn't have full range of motion.
Oh, it's very lumpy, but then there's a close up where you see him grabbing something, and all the fingers fold. But it looks all lumpy and.
Well, it looks like what they've done is instead of having it be CGI all the time, they've got an appliance that just goes over his actual arm.
Yeah. But in the movie, it's this.
But yeah, then they've animated.
And they do talk about it's Wakandan technology in origin. So if there's anything that's like, hang on, that doesn't make any sense, it can be explained away by advanced technology.
Yeah, vibranium.
The opening.
It's all vibranium.
There's two intros to the movie. One of them is like sort of the setup of something very Civil War, actually, a setup of something that pays off later when we find out what it's about.
Yeah.
But there's also a very Wonder Woman. Parent tells the child a story of the
animated history of Wakanda. Oh, it's so lush,
gorgeous, and it sums it up so quickly, and it's so nicely done. If you're looking for your Easter eggs, in terms of the wider cinematic universe, there are not many, and I think that's on purpose. I think that's a conscious decision.
It's relatively standalone.
Yeah,
there's the odd line here and there, and of course it does follow on from events in Civil War, but. In a way, it doesn't make you feel like you've missed something if you haven't seen Civil War, I don't think. In terms of recent years stuff, it's like Ant-Man or Doctor Strange. It's we're here to tell this story. If you're aware of the wider world, then cool. But the extent of the references really are flashbacks to the embassy event in Civil War and the existence of the characters of Claw and Everett Ross. Yeah. It's like, hey, look, Civil War and Age of Ultron were things that happened, but you don't need to know that. There's a line in later on which kind of reminds you that they've got Bucky still. Yeah. It's a really throwaway line.
That's
And if you know that they've got Bucky in custody from the end of Civil War, then you're like, oh, of course. But if you don't, it's just like, oh, that's a weird thing to say. But it's not like they don't make a whole thing of it, and there's not like a whole scene where he's in the background in his stasis tube from the end of the war. So yeah, it's really neat the way it just slots in without being egregious. Who else? We've got, of course, got to mention Angela Bassett as what's her name in this?
She's beauty. She is grace. She's got sass in her face.
Angela Bassett's Ramonda, who is
the widow of T'Chaka, Charles' mother.
Forrest Whitaker's Zuri, who's like the high priest of the.
I saw a description of him before that said that Ryan Coogler described him as the Obi-Wan Kenobi of the movie, and it's like, okay, I can see that.
Very spiritual. Winston Duke's M'Baku.
He's great.
He's really good in this.
I read as well. He's back in Infinity War.
Well, of course he is. Yeah, but that'll make sense. Seeing how, yeah.
I get a character that, if you know the comics, could be sensitive ground, but they've purposely omitted a few things from the comic book.
Yeah,
without taking them out straight. The only thing that's been straight up taken out is a use of a name and a common costume of the character.
Yeah,
but elements of the character's costume are definitely there, and they don't shy away from the character's position.
No, they just don't. They don't lean into it in a way that.
The reason I think the reason being is because based on different world stages, it could be interpreted the wrong way. Which is weird because they have handled it in animated shows and stuff and been quite confident in it.
I think it's a different thing
But
in terms of tone.
Yeah. So I agree, but he's excellent and he's definitely that character. Like, do you know what I mean?
Oh,
in terms of his attitude, and his power and his motivations, it's definitely him. And it'll be interesting to see how they play with that as well, because it sort of changes around a bit of the known origin and whatnot. The actor who played T'Chaka in Civil War gets to flex his muscles a bit more in some scenes not necessarily set at the time of the movie, if that makes any sense. We get to learn a bit more about T'Chaka's personal history as well.
Mm-hmm. The legacy of the Black Panther as well, and the ritual and the history surrounding it, and where the powers come from, and the technology, and it's brilliantly rich world building, and it's not in your face, and
there's an action scene involving rhinos.
Yeah,
go and see this movie.
It's treading familiar superhero ground, but because, as I say, along with the visual stuff, because it's coming from elements of African tradition rather than European American tradition, it feels fresh, and also it feels kind of overdue in that no fucking casting agent on either side of the pond, Hollywood, London. No one can turn around casting a movie and turn around and say, oh, well, there weren't any, African-American or African or black actors or actresses that we could really audition for this part if it's not a race-specific role. Bullshit. Look at how many there are in this movie. And it's just a single performer in this movie is top notch,
and it's just the tip of the iceberg. But also the pre-sales for this film, I was reading before, the CEO of IMAX has said this is the highest pre-sale for an IMAX movie from Disney and in the superhero genre.
People want to see this movie.
Yeah.
And I think this and a few other movies of the last year, particularly, Moonlight and Get Out, have proved that there is, having prominent black people in your cast is it's not a box office problem,
because that is the thing with all of this. It's the Hollywood machine and the film studios going, well, we just find that films sell better with a Caucasian lead and it's
bullshit.
like no,
the white man establishment run Hollywood, and we say this as two white males, it's bullshit. They really not have excuses to not cast more diverse casts, and this this acts as a showcase for so many brilliant young and old actors of colour, and it's just fucking marvellous to see, and it feels way overdue. It's such a great ensemble cast. It's a great story, great action, great fun. Just go and see Black Panther, man. What have you...
What have you got to lose but some popcorn down the side of the chair?
And, the price of a cinema ticket, which is fucking extortionate depending on what cinema you're going to.
Get an Odeon Limitless or a Cineworld membership or something, guys. Seriously, save yourself some cash and go watch more movies.
It's... it's proper good.
It's an excellent film. And where do we... I think we'll wrap up on non-spoilers and give a bit of a verdict. Where do you think it stands in the MCU as an MCU movie?
It's in the top. It's towards the top end.
Yeah, I'm still very much sort of for me the height still is Winter Soldier, First Guardians for me. I think that's still my top end. But I think this is in that same camp. This is your Thor Ragnarok, your Civil War, your First Avengers territory. It's really definitely good.
Beats the pants off your Thor Dark Worlds and your...
to be fair, that's not too hard.
The Xenomorph.
The Xenomorph's crashed.
It knocks the pants off off the middling Marvel movies when they were still struggling with what to do, like the Iron Man 2s and your Thor the Dark Worlds were like, what do we want these things to be? This is very much a studio that's found its feet well enough to introduce new characters and new concepts without stumbling, and continue plot threads from earlier movies without it being shoehorned or awkward. It's the opposite of the Cloverfield paradox in a way.
Yeah.
In that it fits so nicely into a wider universe of stories. And it makes it look fucking effortless.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, that's the biggest thing. Because I was saying to you in the cinema, I was like, you've seen Creed.
Yeah.
And I was saying to you, what else has Ryan Coogler directed? And this is his third film.
Yeah, he did a few shorts. Then he did Fruitvale Station with Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah.
Then he did Creed
With
Michael B. Jordan. Which is... I've not seen Fruitvale Station. I hear it's brilliant. Creed is incredible.
Yeah.
And now he's made this, which is just brilliant.
Again, it's continuing Marvel's sort of tradition of going, we would like to hire directors who definitely have a voice and a style, but they've got to be able to cooperate with our grand plan. And sometimes that turns people away. It got tough to work with for Joss Whedon. It pushed Edgar Wright away, but I think that was because I was Edgar Wright's baby for so many years that it then got absorbed into a bigger thing.
Off the evidence of this and Thor Ragnarok,
yeah.
I think they've also learned from that experience and gone, okay, we should give these guys a little bit more slack.
Yeah.
Because when they do, the results speak for themselves.
Yeah. I think Kevin Feige and his team at this point are acting more as just quality control.
Yeah.
Like they're just overseeing going, awesome, awesome. Can we ask for a bit more of this? As long as it doesn't compromise what you're doing, like, can we just tweak that? Can we change that? I think that's also been reflected quite neatly recently as well in, like, post-credit sequences. They've become now sort of the ground for, rather than it happening within the movies.
Which is what they've kind of been all along.
It's what they started out as, but then they started to, the film started to encroach. Like, I think Age of Ultron is the biggest example of interference affecting the end product.
It feels like it was the most... And it was the most muddled around with.
Iron Man 2 was the vanilla filler, and Age of Ultron was the, maybe we should have left that alone a little bit.
Yeah. Iron Man 2 suffered, but it allowed it to grow. It allowed the films...
It was a placeholder.
Yeah.
It was a placeholder movie that essentially existed to remind you these films were carrying on, and to introduce the idea that there was more than just Iron Man and Hulk.
But again, I think they've learned from that particular mistake, and not that and Age of Ultron. I think have been big learning experiences because no one's ever done this before. No one's ever done what Marvel are doing before. No one's told,
and no one's even attempted to do it with as much care.
Oh man!
Since people have tried to start their own thing like this, but they're just charging headlong.
I mean, we're in 15 movies
down the
now?
highway, and they're rushing headlong, out of control.
Is this the 15th MCU movie?
18th.
18th. Jesus, what was the 14th?
Hang on. Iron Man, Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 2, Thor, Captain America the First Avenger, The Avengers. Iron Man 3, which is, I still think, my favourite Iron Man movie.
I really like Iron Man 3.
Thor the Dark World, Guardians of the Galaxy, Captain America Winter Soldier, Avengers Age of Ultron, Ant-Man, Captain America Civil War. What else was that year? Doctor Strange.
Spider-Man Homecoming.
Oh, hang on. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Yeah.
That's 15. Spider-Man Homecoming, Thor Ragnarok, Black Panther. This is the 18th movie.
18th MCU movie.
Yeah.
They've got 2 more coming out this year.
Yeah.
Captain Marvel's filming at the moment.
Infinity War and Ant-Man and the Wasp.
That's 20 movies.
Ant-Man and the Wasp will be the 20th MCU film.
20 movies in 10 years.
Yeah.
Telling one large interwoven narrative.
And there are 4 more confirmed ones after that. The second part of Infinity War, Captain Marvel, Spider-Man sequel, and Guardians Volume 3. Those are the next definite confirmed ones after this year.
Like, say what you will about, how this is eating up mainstream cinema, but fuck me, that's impressive. To churn out 20 films.
Yeah.
Oh, two of which we haven't seen yet, to be fair.
2 of which we haven't seen yet, and 4/5 of which were technically sort of other studios with Marvel guiding it towards their own objective. And
across that to maintain a shared narrative.
Yeah.
Shared
with a minimum of 2 a year apart from 2010 and 2012. Yeah.
And to also maintain a baseline of quality which at its lowest point is like Incredible Hulk, Thor: The Dark World, which is it's fine.
I just realised there was even a year where there wasn't a Marvel movie. 2009.
Yeah. Because that was when the machinery was getting into
Yeah.
position to really fucking churn them out.
Holy shit balls!
And they've churned out 20 movies in 10 years.
Oh my god! Yeah, by the time Ant-Man and the Wasp's
And
out,
not like...
by the time Ant-Man and the Wasp's out, it won't even yet have been the 10th anniversary of Iron Man.
No.
That was an August movie, I think it was July, August.
So it'll be just coming on the 10th anniversary.
Yeah.
It'll be.
Oh my god!
And
That's nuts,
not
isn't it?
20 fucking small indie movies, character pieces, like 20 big budget, fucking huge blockbuster movies, effects heavy, huge casts, like, pushing the envelope constantly, and
With only 2 semi-duds in terms of criticals.
yeah, and even that, like,
But again, look at that hit rate. Like, out of the 18,
Oh,
16,
God.
16 have been critical darlings, and 2 have been...
well,
yeah,
I
it's
wouldn't go-
alright.
I wouldn't go critical. I think I'd say like maybe 10 have been critical darlings,
Oh, well, okay.
and then
Maybe
6 have been
well-
pretty well received, and then 2
have been given a...
5 or 6 have been pretty well received, and then 2 or 3 have been like, it's okay.
Yeah.
But none of them have really taken a drubbing.
No.
Like,
there
it's-
hasn't been... I mean, again, taste is subjective and opinion is subjective, but there hasn't been, on a technical level, or at least in terms of an audience response level, there hasn't been a bad movie in that run.
No. Mediocre at worst,
Yeah.
I would say.
But no, like, oh, this is terrible. Just, it's
Nothing-
not the best.
Nothing on the scale of a Daredevil or a Spider-Man 3
Yeah.
or a X-Men 3 or a Wolverine Origins or a Suicide Squad or a BVS or a fucking Spawn. Just keep it fair and get all the comic companies involved. Like, nothing on that level.
Marvel shill, rah, rah, rah.
I'm just getting those pages of Amazing Spider-Man.
He
ready
says
to
in a
stroke
room.
myself.
He says in a room where the shelf behind him is entirely full of DC characters.
Just so much DC. Look at that! Look at that! Right in front of me is a shelf that is 2/3 Batman and a little bit of Captain America, and then Catwoman, and what's that? Chew, and a couple of
Chew.
other random C books. And standing in front of all those books is
The Batman of
Batman of Zur-En-Arrh from Grant Morrison's R.I.P., Batmite, and Scarecrow. So I don't think we've got a Marvel favoritism problem here. I mean, like, that's his shelf, because I mainly have digital comics, and the only action figures on my shelf are Transformers. So
More than meets the eye.
I'm
I hear.
an IDW shill, so shoot me. Just... It's really good.
Yeah.
And if nothing else, the achievement, even if it is all in the name of corporate greed, the achievement of the MCU is something to behold. Often imitated, too often imitated. Please stop imitating them. It's getting embarrassing now.
And also, this will be the first time that we'll be seeing some characters, and there's no definitive plans for a sequel right away.
Yeah.
But we get to see them in the next movie. That last happened with Ant-Man in 2015, and then the next movie we got was Captain America: Civil War.
Yeah.
So we got another dose of Ant-Man.
Well, we even
in just over 2 months' time, half of this cast is returning to appear in Infinity War.
we even get the James Bond style Black Panther will return in.
Avengers Infinity War.
Remember that when they knew what the next James Bond movie was going to be, because they knew which book they were going to adapt next. So it'd be James Bond will return in...
Go tonight.
Or whatever.
Yes.
Let's get into a few spoilers before we jump into emails.
Spoiler territory with our big old eyes and necks, because we're giraffes with giant eyes.
Well, I already kind of let one slip in that Killmonger has a Wakandan name.
Mm-hmm.
Spoiler, he's Wakandan.
Yeah.
He's
Well, Wakandan heritage. Yeah,
he's-
he's an American-born prince. He's a Wakandan prince.
He's T'Challa's cousin, essentially. The son of T'Chaka's brother, who betrayed Wakanda by allowing... basically thought... Because he'd spent some time as a war dog living in the outside world, he saw the oppression visited upon black people across the world, particularly in Oakland, California, which is where Ryan Coogler grew up.
Which is the big change for Killmonger. Killmonger is originally from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
I think it was.
Now he's from Oakland.
Yeah.
Born of...
Was it Brooklyn or was it? It's New York. I'll double check that.
Yeah,
He's West Coast now. He's not East
Everything's
Coast
from New
anymore.
York.
Yeah.
Everything's from New York. It's Marvel.
Spider friend.
Everyone's in New York.
I've forgotten until the credits rolled as well. Black Panther is entirely a Stan Lee and Jack Kirby creation. in terms of like the character's beginning. Like,
Yeah.
other writers and artists over the years really crafted that well. A lot of the stuff from this film, especially in terms of the Royal Circle and the what are the warriors called?
The Dermalagi.
The Dermalagi, like that stuff was mostly crafted and honed in the 1998 run of Black Panther comics.
Priest?
Yeah, Christopher Priest run. That's when it
Yeah.
really got fleshed
I've
out.
honestly not read much Black Panther. Like my extent
Same
of Black
here,
Panther
Black
comics is like
Mm.
the early Black Panther stuff from that Stan Lee, Jack Kirby Fantastic Four run where he
Yeah.
first gets introduced. His
Of course, because he debuted in Fantastic Four. Yeah.
his involvement in the
Because his
various
first
Marvel
story
events.
is Claw's first appearance as well.
Yeah, and it's
Because
just
T'Chaka cut off Claw's hand in the comic, and that's why he replaced
either-
it with a cannon.
it's either just before or just after Galactus.
Yeah, it's around
Because you've
that-
got this
it's around
run
that
of
period.
stories from the coming of Galactus through to like Doomsday, which is like, oh, it's Galactus here, and also, oh, these are the Inhumans, and also this Black Panther and Wakanda, and all this weird shit.
Yeah.
And also now here's the Silver Surfer back again. Oh, no, like Doom has
You
stolen his powers.
You mean Fantastic Four actually used to be the world's greatest comic magazine?
Fucking those first 102 issues
Yeah.
of Stanley and Jack Kirby were just it was imagination,
Yeah.
just stream of consciousness poured out onto a page.
Hey, I'm going to give you a vague story idea, Jack. Can you just draw it all out and then I'll fill in the words?
Okay. He's saying that because he's got a cigar. in his
Giant
mouth.
cigar in his mouth, chomping on it like the king should.
Ah.
But yeah, it's like so.
Can you do it in 2 days, Jack?
So, like, yeah, so within this, like, it's established that T'Chaka's brother is one of these, what are they called? War dogs?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, which is a Wakandan agent sent out to a different country to essentially monitor and be a spy to help feedback what's going on in the world and make
Yeah.
sure that Wakanda isn't discovered or researched on, la la la. He's sent out and he sees the oppression, specifically within West Coast of America, of the black community, and he's like, yeah, we need to do something.
We can change this.
We can change this.
What are we
We
not, why aren't we doing anything?
So he gets the information out that allows Ulysses Claw to break into Wakanda,
Mm.
and in a giant heist that involves a lot of explosions and death, steal a load of vibranium.
half ton, I think.
Half ton, which it's falsely announced for a long time and probably put out by Wakanda.
Yeah, they say
that
it,
is
yeah.
the
That was all the work.
all the vibranium they've got. Like, obviously, some has managed to make its way into American hands over the decades because Captain America's shield is made of vibranium. So, you know, in the 40s, America somehow got hold of some, I'm guessing.
Yeah, but a tiny amount.
A tiny amount, enough to make a shield. And although Bucky's arm's made of vibranium as well. So,
Is it?
Yeah, they mentioned that in, I think it's Winter Soldier. Because that's how he's able to stop the shield in midair. Like, he just grabs it because his arm's made of the same stuff.
Only bits and pieces that have got out here and there. Because there's that scene in the British Museum where they find where Killmonger sees the artifact.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's Wakandan.
Mm.
We're stealing this. Oh, by the way, you're all dead now.
That was a great scene. That
Yeah,
was a really good, because it just established the two villains of the movie. It was like, oh, okay.
Just Andy Serkis just chewing the fuck out of the scenery. Just having the best time.
But yes, the idea is that T'Chaka's brothers allowed all this stuff out. He allowed it to happen so that it could get out into the world, and he liberates some for himself.
Yeah.
And the idea is he's going to start essentially a small revolution that will grow bigger.
I wouldn't say it was going to be that small.
Oh
Yeah.
well, at first they were going to make examples, weren't they, and sort of spread out, and because even in the film, like toward the end, that's what's going to happen when they realise that the war dogs around the world are not agreeing, but 3 of them have gone, okay,
Not
like,
three
we're
themselves,
going to obey our king. Yeah, we're going to obey our king, and it's one in New York, one in London, and one somewhere else. They go like, okay, we'll
Hong Kong.
do it, Hong Kong. So like again, it's a revolution that's going to start small and then spread.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing with Killmonger's motivation. Essentially, he's following on in his dad's belief, but he's taking it to the nth degree. It's not about protection and making examples. He wants to change the tide of oppression and violence against black people around the world. However, the way he wants to do it is by killing everyone else.
Yeah. Because he spent 26 years stewing.
Yeah.
And just becoming more and more pissed off at what he sees as his dad's murder. And it was his dad's murder, like, straight up T'Challa murdered his brother.
Yeah.
T'Chaka murders his brother to protect
his friend. And it's Zuri, isn't he?
Yeah, because Zuri's... Basically, this great scene where these 2 guys...
And after they announce it, you look at the action and you're like, oh my god, he just looks like a young Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah.
This is terrifying.
And it's these 2 you think are American black dudes, and then one of them turns out to be. They've got these like UV tattoos inside the. I'm holding down my lip like you can see it on the podcast, but they got these UV tattoos inside the bottom lip.
It's what like the war dogs essentially.
Yeah,
the Wakandans outside of Wakanda have put in there to basically go like, you know, this is my ID back into my own country.
Yeah, and so yeah, you reveal that one of them is the prince, is the king's brother, and then there's the other guy with him who's like, what's going on? Until the king's like, yeah. We had eyes on you all the time, and the other guy's like, "Yeah, I'm actually Wakanda too."
Yeah, because he says, like, so why have you come here? And he says, like, I want you to look me in the eye and tell me you did not aid in this operation. And his brother's like, you know, I would never do that. And he sort of, T'Chaka does this look on his face of like, I can't believe I'm having to go this far. And he says, like, we've had eyes on you this whole time. And his friend drops his pretense, and it's Zuri, and it's like, oh. Yeah. So Killmonger's motivations are completely understandable, but obviously horribly wrong in terms of how he's planning to execute his beliefs. Like, do you know what I mean? But that was something that was kind of refreshing about this in a weird way, is that when Hollywood does quote unquote black cinema, they tend to focus on like oppression, like black oppression and black history. They focus on like slavery and those stories. Which, of course, there are stories to tell there, and there are lessons to be learned, and education that needs to be given to generations who sort of don't think about this stuff. But at the same time, it was refreshing that this movie, that was not the overall motivation of the film in any way at all. But it also meant that Killmonger's beliefs and his motivation were completely understandable.
Yeah, like he
again, like,
there is
obviously, it's a very different, more serious version than what I'm about to say, but it was like Vulture in Homecoming. Yeah. It was, I see what your point is, and I sympathise with you so much. Yeah. But you need to stop doing what you're doing because it's the wrong thing.
This is not the way.
Yeah. And that's what was nice about the film. The film, in fact, in the mid-credits scene, they state it outright in a line that I wouldn't be surprised was probably written after November 2016.
Yeah.
Where T'Challa says, like, the wise build bridges, only a fool builds barriers.
Yeah. In times of crisis, the wise build bridges.
Yeah, and that's the message of the film essentially is, yes, horrible stuff has gone down in the past, like in terms of colonization, in terms of all that, in terms of slavery, and in terms of T'Challa's personal story. My father and the other kings have made horrible mistakes. Yeah. But the important thing isn't to dwell. The important thing is to learn and do better. And that seems to be the film's overall message. It's you learn and you do better than the people who came before you.
Another, it's like an offhand thing, but there's a sort of slur that the Wakandans have for like white Europeans and Americans as a colonizer.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh yeah, that is.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Fuck.
Okay then.
Yeah, we kind of are, aren't we? Oh, we're shit people. We are shitty people. And it's not a movie that trades on white guilt, but it does invoke it gently, and rightly so. It touches on themes of immigration and othering of people. To the point where, you could paint Wakanda as xenophobic. They even had that conversation with T'Challa and W'Kabi early on, where W'Kabi doesn't want to. T'Challa's considering like opening the borders.
Yeah, maybe what we do is we bring people in, we bring refugees in to take care of them and to help.
W'Kabi's like, nah, you bring people in our country, they'll just bring the problems with them.
Yeah, and it's sort of, again, like when he says that, you go, I can see why you're wary of doing this, because like everything for you guys is as perfect and as peaceful as it possibly can be.
Yeah, it's come at such a price.
Yeah, and it's oh god, but again, they don't shy away from the idea that Wakanda is a nation founded on 5 tribes.
Yeah.
With 5 figureheads, each who are replaced by their bloodline or, by trial. Over the decades, and there are problems within themselves. Like they still have the tribe of again, I'm just using sort of the comic book like thing, but they have the tribe of the white ape, and it's like
I think they are like straight up called the white.
Oh yeah, they refer to them. They refer to what's the character's what's his name?
Batu.
Mbatu, they refer to him as the Gorilla King as well. So like they're still keeping within
and they mention
the idea of the conflicts of the different tribes.
They mention Harryman, the monkey god, as well. So
yeah.
Whereas like most of the other tribes revere Bast.
Yeah.
For them it's Hanuman, so it's like a theological difference there, which is quite neat.
And also, it doesn't seem to be a thing of like praying to gods. It's about respecting lineages and
tradition.
Tradition.
It's spiritual, but it doesn't seem overly theistic.
Yeah.
It's just a really neat exploration of what is mostly an invented culture, but again taking cues from real world
inspirations,
traditions of various creeds.
Creed!
Hey.
Ryan Coogler's previous movie!
It's just, I mean, there's not too much to spoil other than like straight up telling the plot, but like there's some amazing action sequences. It does a really
I'm never
going
to get over the rhinos.
Love the armoured rhino cavalry.
Yeah.
Daniel Kaluuya riding a giant armoured rhino.
Yeah.
Did you ever think you'd see that when you were watching Psychoville?
No.
Oh!
Maybe sitting on a big beanie baby, but not riding a giant armoured rhino.
Commodities.
My holy of holies.
They do a really good job of making that big, epic finale brawl, because as with all superhero movies, there is a huge, big knockdown fight that is happening on like 3 or 4 fronts at the end.
But there's only 2 people having a fight during that where it is like this could end it kind of thing. Everything else is a horrible side effect of what's having to happen.
It's like a mini civil war.
Yeah, and people are being injured more than killed because it is a case of like...
Yeah, people don't want to kill each other.
We don't want to have this fight, but like we have to be loyal to the king, and they're like, this is not our king.
Basically, Killmonger usurps the throne from T'Challa
in a really powerful scene. Like,
yeah,
and again, it's you realise that they do the trial by combat thing early on in the movie. They do a lot of the versions of Black Panther origin story, or whenever he's adapted into like animated series and whatnot, always tend to do a version of like either T'Chaka loses in the trial to keep his position, or T'Chaka's passed on, and then T'Challa has to fight to remain king of Wakanda and Black Panther. And usually the other tribes are like, we're not going to step in, we are happy with this decision. And then the tribe of the White Ape are like, nope, we're going to fight. And, it's Mbatu and he's going to kick your ass. And this movie does that, and it's like, okay, this was cool to see. It's cool to see this in live action. It's choreographed brilliantly. Like, you get a sense of the culture and the respect everyone has for one another. There is ritualistic elements to everything, but again, it's because it feels like it's traditional, and it's brilliantly done. And then you realise later in the movie, they did this on purpose.
Yeah, they're setting
so that we
up
could
for
watch
later.
a small scale version of it that is actually a fight for the fate of Wakanda when Killmonger rocks
It's a really
up.
wonderfully structured movie.
Yeah,
like everything's set up and paid off.
It flew by. It was 2 hours and 15 minutes. It flew by.
It's a really good ride, and it's great fun. It's really great fun. Killmonger becomes king, deposes T'Challa, and then basically at the end, T'Challa comes back, and there's a little mini civil war of W'Kabi and his border guards siding with Killmonger and the Dora Milaje, and
the Dora Milaje are also doing that because it's their duty. Until they see T'Challa's alive, and they're like, "No,
fuck this.
This is wrong."
Yeah, they turn on Killmonger. Nakia and Shuri join the fight. Even Everett Ross gets involved because he gets injured. He gets injured. He gets a spinal injury, and they bring him to Wakanda under protest from some people to heal him because they can't just let him die because he saves Nakia's life. And so even he gets involved in it's this wonderful, like this huge epic battle of brother versus sister and rhinos and spears and swords and the red Dora Milaje with the bald heads against the blue robes of the border guards and it looked gorgeous. And then there's the 2 Black Panther suited guys fighting each other, but the stakes are very personal and it means something. It's not just like people bashing against each other. And even the good superhero movies can lose themselves in that sometimes. But this one really gets
it's personal
those stakes and makes you care about what the outcome of the thing is going to be, because like this movie spent so long making you like everyone, and
That's the thing. You don't want them to win because it means the Earth is saved.
No.
You want them to win because you know, like, the characters.
Yeah.
And you know the ones who are in the right, and you want them to best out over the evil and the injustice of it all.
but at the same time, I didn't want Killmonger to die. Because I feel like...
You wanted him to see what he was doing wrong. You wanted him to be rehabilitated.
But he chooses to die rather than live in bondage.
And again, like, that line, it's sort of, in that moment you go, oh god, like, his death feels wrong, because you're like, he has a point, but he's doing it the wrong way, and if only he'd let himself live and be saved, maybe he could have learned, he could have become better, he could have become, like, he could have become a great member of the royal family, and it's like, oh man, it's some deep stuff. Mid-credit sequence, I said it in the cinema, it sort of felt like a cheeky nod to
the press conference.
The press conference at the end of Iron Man. Like, because, you know, it's like, with all due respect, what does a simple farming country have to offer to the rest of the world?
Yeah.
And he just sort of smiles, and then we cut on with the rest of the credits, and you're like, he's just about to basically go, click my necklace, look at me, I'm Black Panther. This is just the start of it. Like, that's you know, and that was what was nice about Everett Ross's inclusion, is that bridge then of, like, okay, like, now we know who's going to be their liaison to help Wakanda get into the wider world.
Which I think is he's kind of his most well-known role in the comics. So
yeah, he's a government bridge.
That's what people were like, oh, okay, that's what they're going to do with him in
post-credits.
Civil War.
We're in that era of Marvel post-credit sequences now. The post-credits don't really drive on the hype for future movies. Now they're more
just a little bit of connective tissue.
Yeah, and in this case, it's just basically to let you know that after the events of this movie, everything's calmed down in a quiet little sort of outcrop just near the river, slightly away from the main city. Bucky is revived and awake.
Yeah.
And Shuri has some things to show him.
Yeah.
And he is ready.
And also, and the Wakandan kids have nicknamed him the White Wolf.
Yes.
Which is quite neat.
It's also, again, it's also weird when you think about the release of the movies. It's been nearly 2 years since we last saw Bucky.
Yeah.
So it's weird when you think about it like that. You're like, oh my god, yeah, it's been a while. That there have been, there's been...
since Civil War.
This is 5 movies later. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And again, they resisted because what you would have had in an earlier Marvel movie before they sort of learnt the lessons is you would have had a whole scene with him like, oh, we've got Sergeant Barnes here still, and we're still trying to work out how to get rid of his brainwashing, and but, you know, we're keeping him safe here, and then it'd be in the background of fucking loads of shots.
Yeah,
and
like you said, there's a throwaway line in
and that's
the film.
It's like what they said, oh, it's, we're bringing another broken white boy.
Yes, that was it.
Brought me another broken white boy.
That was literally it. And it's perfectly done.
It's great.
Because it's just a throwaway joke line, but then it is it's a reference to Bucky. Which is quite nice. She says Sergeant Barnes, and he just sort of looks at her like, no, and he goes, Bucky.
And also, you can kind of feel the optimism, the hopefulness of Shuri in that moment where she doesn't say it sarcastically. She says it jokingly because she has no problem bringing her outsider to heal. It's not about who they are that bring to heal. It's the joy of helping someone.
She gets to do some stuff with her tech.
She gets to show off her tech, and she gets to help people. And she doesn't care who it is, and that's you know, it's that sense that she's Wakanda's future of it being more open, which T'Challa is the first step on. That road, and it's so good, Chris. It's so good, and really I'm so happy it's good because from the moment I saw that first fucking trailer, I was like, this is gonna be sick, and it was. It's so good.
We were saying it last year when we were talking about like which of the movies we're most anticipating this year, and this was the one that I was looking forward to the most. So, like, if Infinity War and Ant-Man and the Wasp can be just like at least a good time, I'll be delighted because I got the one I really wanted this year, and it was beautiful.
It's good. It's very good. Go and see Black Panther. It's totally great. That's where it stands on the Matthew Watson ranking scale of movies.
Do you know what else is totally great?
What?
Egg.
albumin.
Yeah, fun, isn't it? A little bit of yolk in the morning. Well, you know what else is also alright, I suppose?
Our listenership.
Yes, you guys, you're alright.
You're
You
okay.
sometimes email in. We've got quite a few emails to get through this
Yeah,
week.
I held over a couple from last week deliberately because they're Marvel-y.
Yeah.
But this first one is just one we didn't get to last week.
Yeah, don't forget, guys, you can email in bigdamcontact@gmail.com.
Yes. This is from Lewis, who's a first-time emailer. Greetings.
How does he know our secret greeting?
Hey, our secret greeting.
Greetings.
To the Big Damn Cast Boys. Been a fan of the show since the beginning, but never emailed in, so this should be fun. Anyway, trailers. And that's it, that's all. No, just having a chat about recent trailers here. So arguably the biggest one was Solo, and it looks meh.
Yeah, I think we agree on that one.
Visually, it's very bland to me. First thought was how similar it looked to Rogue One, which is a film I've soured on a lot since its release, and that grey colour palette totally does not suit this trailer at all. Alden Ehrenreich is really not selling me on his Han either. He doesn't really feel like the Han we all know.
Yeah.
Applauding for not just doing an impression of Harrison Ford, but there needs to be some familiar element there, other than his appearance. All that business about an acting coach on set doesn't really seem like Han at all. If nothing else, though, it looks like a fun space romp, so I'm still kind of excited. And those character posters do admittedly look quite lovely. I do think these year releases need to stop, though, and that's coming from someone who loves TFA and TLJ. I'm finding it hard to judge Alden Ehrenreich so far, because there's so little of him in the trailer, and it's so... This is like a character who's at least probably around 15 years younger than when we first see him in The New Hope. So he's going to be a different person.
At least I hope he is 15 years younger, because otherwise they're going to do some really tacked-on scene where it's like...
Otherwise.
And here's footage of him heading off to Tatooine. It's like, nope. Nope.
So I'm hoping there's going to be a development thing, but
yeah.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see. I don't want to judge it too much, but then I judge other films harshly on trailers. So fuck it. Yeah, I'm not. I don't hold high hopes for it. It looks bland, like you say. Infinity War, yay! Looks great. Probably my most anticipated film of the year. Really can't wait. Not much more to say, really, though. Good to see some more Spidey and Guardians. Infinity War. Infinity War?
Infinity War.
Infinity Peter Weir. Infinity War looks like proper canny like.
Put that on the posters.
It's proper canny like.
Infinity War looks proper canny like. Matthew Watson, the big damn kissed. The big damn coast.
Off the subject of trailers, I've recently started watching Buffy, and I'm absolutely in love with it.
Hey.
Currently midway through season 2 and hate myself for not watching this marvellous show earlier.
It is pretty marvellous.
Anyway,
and what's great is he finished series 2.
He's halfway through.
Amazing. Series 1 is so 90s. I
love it.
It's lovely Monster of the Week stuff and really introduces the tone of the world. Series 2 is, I think, probably the strongest of all the series in terms of it going, this is what we're setting out to do. And by the end of it, you're like, oh my god, you did it, and then twisted the knife at the end.
Yeah.
Series 2 is amazing.
Off the subject of trailers, I've recently started... no, I've done that. Anyway, can we expect any Buffy content on the show in the future?
We probably should.
You may have had this question before, but I can't remember it, so I'll ask it again. Anyway, that about covers it. See you next time, big damn peeps. Yeah, I would like to do some more structured, topic-based episodes. It's just a case of getting things planned out in advance.
We've got a bit of time, just over a month, where it'd be handy for us to have a pre-record or two in the back pockets.
We'll look into it. We have got a bunch of like I say, different topic-based episodes that we wanted to do. It's just a case of getting things organised.
A Buffy one will be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'd like to do some Buffy stuff. Dan Rawlings
with his knees and his mind.
Pardon me. I held this over from.
I thought you were just clapping the chair.
No.
You were, just not with your hands.
Hey, with my buttocks. Hey! I held this back from last week because it's Marvel-y related. Asked this in one of the first emails I sent in, and I can't remember if you got around to it, so fuck it!
I like the attitude.
What do you want from Marvel Studios' Phase 4? Apart from Squirrel Girl versus the Surfer Society, because that answer is too good.
Yes.
That's all we want, really.
That's all we want in life.
I'd like Captain Britain for some reason, or maybe it would be interesting to see Nova, like Marvel Studios is the Nova Man, with Sam, what's his name, from Marvel's The Ultimate Spider-Man. Maybe I'm just playing too much Lego Marvel superheroes. Thanks. Dan Rawlings. And
I'd
also,
love a Nova movie in the style of the Sam Alexander.
The problem with Nova is that we've already established what the Novas are in the MCU.
Unless we now reveal that there are the elite soldiers who are the
Yeah.
Nova.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah. There's a way to do it. I think there's absolutely a way to do it.
You could do you could try and do it with Quasar, who's a lesser known character.
Yeah?
But you wouldn't have that name.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
But-
Unless you do what you've been doing with a lot of the characters in the MCU, specifically the villains, and you merge a couple characters to create what you need. But yeah, I'd be up for a Nova. Phase 4 in general, like what sort of stuff would you like to see? I think a Doctor Strange sequel is something that they're planning. It's not confirmed, but like Scott Derrickson is already planning what he'd do. I think he's already said he knows what he'd do.
Yeah.
But it's about like developing how it'd look and everything.
I do eventually want to see a Ms. Marvel Kamala Khan, but
that's probably down the road.
Yeah, you need to let Captain Marvel establish herself first to act as an inspiration. I want to see a Miles Morales Spider-Man at some point. Spider-Man. I think, but again, you need to let Peter establish himself.
They've laid the foundation for that to be a thing, and we're also at least going to get a version of it in animated form from Sony Pictures. So we get a taste of Miles, but down the line, it would be cool to see him.
I would like to see a completely different Avengers team with none of the old members on at all.
Yes.
And I mean, like, none of the members we've had so far.
I mean, I wouldn't be against, like, Hawkeye or Black Widow being, like, team leader.
Yeah.
To sort of steer it.
Yeah, maybe.
I think Black Widow would be the call. I think if you had to pick one to be they're definitely in charge, it'd be Black Widow.
No Cap, no Thor.
Kill off Fury and make Hawkeye the leader of S.H.I.E.L.D. So he can still be around in the universe.
Or,
Maria Hill.
Or Steve Rogers and get rid of his super soldier serum, age him up.
Oh my god.
So you'd have a different actor playing him.
Or just say, hey Chris Evans, good news. We're only
you
filming.
Can stop working out.
We're only filming for 3 days with you. And we're going to pay you a lot of money. Great. Bad news. 2 of those 3 days are going to be spent in a makeup chair.
Hey!
Now look old, damn it.
So,
realistically, where do you think we're going to go? A Doctor Strange sequel will happen.
Well, I don't know, but I'll give you some more inspiration because Dan sent another email in this week, which kind of follows on from it, saying
he double dipped.
What do you think the cliffhanger and post-credit
scene? Like a Kit Kat in a cuppa.
What do you think the cliffhanger and post-credit scene for Infinity War will be like? A lot of people think it will be the set of the next big villain, which leads me to my next question. Who do you think should be the next big damn baddie? I think the use of the real Mandarin, who's apparently still out there somewhere, could be good if it meant bringing Fing Fang Foom into it as well.
Ooh, visually that would be so much fun.
Other names that keep being mentioned are Galactus, MODOK, Taskmaster, and Doctor Doom. I think a lot of this depends on whether we're going to get the Fox Marvel properties in the MCU proper. That deal apparently is going ahead, but I think we're still waiting for public confirmation of it actually. If we're talking
post-credits of Infinity War Part 2.
Infinity War, it's going to be set in Captain Marvel.
Oh, Infinity War would be set in Captain Marvel, would be teasing Captain Marvel, absolutely. Infinity War Part 2, though, if we're talking about the end of it, so the second film, the 2019 release.
Yeah, it'll be picking up the pieces of whatever's left at the end of that movie.
I think I'd be happy with it wrapping up in a way where that movie is like, hey, if you want to get off the train now, you can. Like, here's the button on all of this.
Here's the station.
But it would be nice if they end the Marvel Universe as we know it, and then the post-credits teaser is go on, here's a taste of what's to come. And if that's the case, if I had to nominate a villain, I think the obvious route to go would be Galactus. Again, this is all Wright's decided. The obvious route to go would be Galactus, because if you want to up the stakes after Thanos, you move them to the World Eater.
Yeah.
But, because visually at least, that would be, like the next thing to go. But it also would be another space villain. So, if I were to pick who the big bad would be for, like, at least the next phase, and maybe that's how you do it.
Yeah, yeah.
You have Thanos was a big plan, but now you just have, like, your big bad who lasts the 2 or 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to go that route, sort it out with Fox, guys. Give me Doom.
Yeah, I would like Doom. I would like to see Doom.
That's a Phase 4 movie I'd like to say. Monopolies are bad, but if we're getting Phase 4, I would like Fantastic Four.
Failing Doom, and failing
Doom is a deadly thing to do. And you really don't want to do that.
One does not fail Doom. He
is the best Marvel villain. He just is.
When he's well written. When he's badly written, he's shit. Yeah. When he's well written.
But even his creation, I just thought his creation, Stan Lee was just like, I like the idea of a king because you can walk up to a policeman and drop some litter on the floor, and they'll go, "Hey, you can't do that. That's litter."
What are you gonna
Like,
do?
Pick that up. Or
What are you gonna do?
Well, no. You see how he said that was like, pick that up or I'll write you a ticket. But you can walk up to any policeman on the street and say, "I'm going to take over the world," and they can't do anything about that. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
okay, sure. And he said that's where Doom came from.
Brilliant.
The idea that you could just declare, "I'm taking over the world," because that's not a crime in itself.
No.
So he was like, well, how can he do that? And he decided, well, if he's a king, then he's got diplomatic immunity. So that's where you start. And that's where Doom started to come from. And it's like, oh my god, what a great idea! He doesn't want to rob a bank. He could walk into a bank, probably just reach into the vault and pull some... If he wanted to rob a bank. He'd just reach in, pull it out, they'd be like, what the hell are you doing? And he's like, yeah, I'm the king of Latveria. And they're like, oh shit, we can't actually do anything. We can debate it in the United Nations, but he's probably not going to show up.
Yeah,
because he's a tech wizard medieval king.
He'll just send a robot.
He'll send a robot in his place while he sits at home.
This might be a robot
conducting black magic.
Doom. It could always be a robot.
Maybe I'm a robot. Am I a Doombot?
I would like to see, failing Doom, I would like to see Kang.
Oh! Kang the Conqueror would be a perfect excuse as well. And I think maybe they're testing the waters with him because he's the villain of Lego Marvel Heroes too.
Okay. Yeah.
Like the whole thing is a bit, the whole like cityscape, the place you explore, is a mashup of a load of timelines and locations.
Okay, cool.
So like Wakanda's one of them, New York 2099 is one of them.
Nice.
It's a mashup of world. Asgard's part of it, because Kang's been screwing with time and messing stuff up. That's why Spider-Gwen and characters like that are in it because timelines are all screwy. But that's what you do because then that way, if you do have your actors who've jumped ship. But are like, I'm sort of missing it. It's like, well, do you know what? Do you want to get involved with the big finale of this phase in which we're going to do some messed up timeline stuff and you can play, like, this version of Captain America?
Because then, as well as playing with timelines, you can also sort of tweak his character a bit and go, okay, we're going to play with timelines and I'm also going to play with alternate universes and other versions. So then your team who've left get to come back and play in the sandbox as guests for one more film if they want to. Or even just fucking recast them entirely and have different versions of them. And
leave that to Warner.
Have like Arno Stark, Iron Man 2020, or the Isaiah
Riri Williams,
or the Isaiah Bradley Captain America,
the Amadeus Cho
from Red, White and Black,
the Amadeus Cho
Hulk.
Totally Awesome Hulk,
or Spider-Man 2099. Fuck it, bring in Spider-Man 2099.
Cast Tobey Maguire. Screw it.
Yeah.
No, cast Andrew Garfield and be like, hey, we'll let you play in the we'll let you play in the proper toy box this time.
And have the sort of overarching theme of it being Kang is coming back to sort of something's gone terribly wrong in the future, and it's this team of Avengers that cause it. So it's a bit of the sort of Bishop backstory from X-Men, and Kang coming back and go, no, I've got to stop you from this thing happening. You created my world, and I need to stop you.
But then you do the Avengers as Mightiest Heroes switcheroo, where the closer they get to like, maybe this needs to be done, it's like, someone's like, I have to hand myself in, I'm the linchpin. They do it, and then it's like, ha! Fucking got you.
I did it. This is what I wanted all along.
Because it means this, that, and the other. And then that'd be fun. I think maybe that's the way to go, is to make it now so the phases from now on, you have a loose connecting thread in 2 or 3 of the 4 or 5 movies, and then your like phase 1 again, your Avengers is your finale, and that's where you go, and here's the climax.
Yeah.
But again, get a focus on individual stories, but you have like the post-credit tease being the thread. Because I was going to say, like Thanos, like the last time we saw him properly was Age of Ultron post-credits. Fine, I'll do it myself. So like, and that's it's been 3 years between those movies.
Yeah, something like that.
Because like he finally got a starring role the year before in Guardians as a supporting player, like leading stuff, sitting in his chair.
I mean, looking
like
badass,
boss,
and making great threats. But this one comes in from Bowtie Animation.
But from who?
Bowtie Animation.
Bowtie Animation.
Who's that?
Bowtie Animation.
We know who he is.
Maybe.
Don't we?
Maybe.
Cool. Just can't remember the name.
It's Bowtie Animation.
Makes no fucking sense. The Venom movie. Exhales, takes a deep breath. Love you both. Bye.
Thanks, Bow Tie Animation. We agree.
Okay.
Many times.
Next one comes in from our lovely friend Charlie. Hello, my grand darn men.
Oh.
Following on.
He's rebranding.
Yes. Following on from my email a few weeks ago about Horizon Zero Dawn, I've now finished the game and was looking forward to lending one or both of you my copy. I've already got a copy, Charles. Don't worry about me. Worry about this fine gentleman sat across from me.
I will lend it off you in the near future. I've got a few things I need to get through first.
Yeah.
I still haven't even opened The Witcher 3. Never mind played it.
However, I was struck by the thought that I may have oversold the thing, and as a result, your experience will be negatively affected inadvertently by my over-enthusiasm. I ask you this! What piece of pop culture have you thoroughly loved, only to be crushed when, upon sharing that love with friends or family, etc., you got absolutely nothing back? A suggestion from Matt may well be Big Trouble in Little China. He was so excited to show it to a friend of his and talk to the game the days leading up to the viewing, but his friend almost immediately fell asleep as soon as the film started, leaving Matt to watch the entire thing by himself, and that friend was me.
Oh my
God. Did indeed happen with me and Charlie. To be fair, I'll just watch Big Trouble in Little China anytime.
He's been watching it while we've been talking.
Yes!
On a UMD disc, just at the corner of his eye.
In my mind.
Oh, God.
Bram Stoker's Dracula! No, I've never shown that to anyone. Gone. This is great.
Lucy rewatched that this week and had a tough time with it. She loved it.
I love it. I love it. I don't know.
I'm trying to think, really.
Yeah, that Big Trouble in Little China thing was like, oh, yeah. Yeah, I think we're fucking knackered anyway, though, Charles. So, to be fair, I think I could have showed you the best film in the world and you would have fallen asleep. Wait, I did. I showed you Big Trouble in Little China. Hey!
In my teen years, I did it a lot because you get really passionate and excited about stuff, and you want to share it with people. And sometimes they're just like, "Oh, fine, I'll watch it," and then they watch it and they go, "Yeah, this is not my thing."
I've shown plenty of stuff to my dad, who I got a lot of my taste off growing up, and he's just not got it at all. Like one of things like Scott Pilgrim, just didn't get it. Fair enough. Mad Max Fury Road.
He didn't enjoy it.
My dad didn't like it. I've got a couple of friends who just didn't like it at all.
Oh, that's a shame.
Just didn't. I'm like, what? I wasn't there for those viewings though, so
I think I've been on the opposite end of that more than anything, and it tends to be with TV shows. Like a lot of my friends are really into The Walking Dead.
Yeah, and
I couldn't care less. Like I tried, and Lou and I got as far as the end of series 2, and I was just like, I don't care about these people. Like I've been reading them on the page, and I really care about those versions of these people. I do not care about these versions of these people. Same with Breaking Bad. At first, I just couldn't care less, and I think it was just because everyone kept telling me about it.
Yeah.
And then we eventually watched it like several years later. Like we watched a bunch, and then a couple of years later we picked it back up again, and we devoured it, and it was amazing. But do you know what I mean? It's like at the time I was, Same with Game of Thrones. Like I've just had no desire to fly through it, but Lucy's so passionate about it.
I've tried to turn Kanisha onto comics a few times, and it's just never landed with her. I think it's just a medium. I think.
Yeah. Well, I think also with comics, I think you kind of have to be in the right sort of mood.
But I've tried her on stuff like I've tried her on Preacher, I've tried her on Hellblazer, I've tried her on Alias, so things that she's familiar with from other mediums, and it's just never really landed.
You tried Hush? I find Hush is a really good gateway drug to like Batman specifically because it's very much I know these people, so it's kind of cool with each issue. You know what I mean? With each issue, you're like, oh god, it's this villain. That's cool. Like, oh, I recognise this guy, and then you learn more about stuff as you go on. Hush is a great gateway drug to comics, I think. If someone likes Batman, it's like a great way to be like, here you go, give it a try.
I was going to say another one, and I've completely forgotten.
What one that you've not been interested in, or one that someone else hasn't been interested in?
Oh, no, that's what it is. I'm not crushed by it, but we're kind of having a bit of it at the moment, because I've turned you onto the Tom King Batman run. And it's not doing it for you. And I'm like, oh no, I love it.
I'm not disliking it. I'm enjoying it to the point where I purchased up to Volume 4.
So that's something.
Volume 1,
but it's I mean, I'm sad that you're not into it as much as I am, because I think it's a really good Batman run. Up there with Snyder's. But, yeah.
It's a different flavour.
Like, we were
saying the other day, like,
I think that's why I like it so much.
If Snyder and Capullo's run is Daniel Craig Batman, Daniel Craig Bond version of Batman.
Yeah.
This is Roger, and I mean this in a good way. This is Roger Moore.
Oh yeah,
version of Batman.
It's a bit campier and a bit. And I think that's probably why I kind of like it, because it's just eased up a little bit.
Yeah,
Just a little.
I think the more I'm reading it, the more I'm getting into it.
Yeah.
I think by the end of I Am Bane, I'll be like, okay, I am completely on board. As far as your present goes, thoroughly enjoy Volume 1, just because Issue 1 is so solid.
Oh,
Issue 1 is so good.
Yeah. The plane
boss, the plane.
Oof. Yeah, it's really good.
This would be a good death. It's like,
I like it a lot.
Oh my god.
I like it a lot. I need to turn you on to the current Superman run.
You always turn me on.
And Bendis takes over soon.
You always turn me on.
I think they're starting the last. Yeah, because I think either this week or next week, Action Comics 997 is out, and Bendis takes over after Action Comics 1000.
My God!
So,
although he's written a short for 1000.
He's written a short for 1000. Yeah.
Like a little taster, a little sample of Bendis' Superman before he takes over.
So yeah, a few things come to mind there, Charlie. Finally, Ian, gets in touch with a couple of quick ones. What do you think of the movies Mystery Men?
Oh, is it like Quickfire? Okay,
yeah, Quickfire.
I really like Mystery Men. I've not seen it in years, but like Jeffrey Rush is the villain. Casanova Frankenstein is a lot of fun. Hank Azaria, Kel Mitchell, sorry.
Yeah.
Ben Stiller's alright. William H. Macy's very good in it. Eddie Izzard's a lot of fun. Yeah, it's a good film. I remember having fun with Mystery Men.
I've not seen it for donkey's years, but I remember it being fun. Yeah, so yeah. Watchmen.
Watchmen? Or the Watchermen?
Watchmen!
Yeah, Watchmen's cool. It's the best movie it could have been.
It's visually interesting.
Considering who it's made by and
what it's based on.
Although I'm as far as adaptations go, I am much more open to the TV adaptation that's on the way.
I'm much more open to having a script that took a few more liberties with it.
Yeah.
They do some smart adaptation moves, but it's a little slavish here and there.
Yeah.
To the point where it doesn't quite flow properly. They could have streamlined it a little bit more. But it's mostly a fairly solid adaptation.
Really cool opening montage. Like in terms of setting up
some really nice stuff in there, but it does suffer from... The times they are a-changing. It does suffer from some of Zack Snyder's bad filmmaking habits.
I think I've got a motion comic version of Watchmen as well.
It came out around the same time. Yeah. Food Boy. No idea what that is.
Never heard of it.
No idea what that is.
Food Boy?
The Devil's Rejects. Never seen it.
Yeah.
That's a Rob Zombie one, isn't it?
Yeah, an ex of mine really loved it. I'd never seen House of a Thousand Corpses though, so when I watched it, I was just a bit like, "Who are these people?" I know it's not so much a sequel really, like it's its own thing, but it's carrying on from that story. But even then, I was like, why is he named after a Groucho Marx character?
Well,
why is he sometimes in clown makeup? What is this?
You know what you've got to do to really get inside the mind of Rob Zombie?
Nope.
You've got to dig through the ditches.
Oh,
and burn through the witches. And slam in the back of my Dracula! Get your reluctant hat on.
Oh?
Because we're going to reluctantly answer a Doctor Who question as two lifelong fans of Doctor Who.
Oh, tit biscuits.
As Doctor Who is getting rebranded, Chris, are there any monsters or characters from the past few years you'd like as a figure? If they were cheap to buy.
They will be cheap to buy because character options don't really make them anymore.
And they'll be in B&M bargains within 6 months anyway.
Well, no, because they're repackaged. They do slight variants in those runs, but they're mostly repackages. Nerd!
Nerd!
The only Doctor Who collector's line figures that came out last year, because that's what it's called now, the collector's series. The only ones that came out last year were two 12th Doctor figures, both with the same mould.
Nice.
But they're both there, you can see them. There's one based on Magician's Apprentice.
Yeah.
And there's one based on Before the Flood. Both of them are the best. Well, both of them are the same figure, but they're the best version of the 12th Doctor. Out of the couple 12th Doctor versions we've had, it's definitely the best version of the character. And there was a 10th Doctor in his tux, which they've been planning to do since 2007. They finally got round to. It's the best sculpt of Tennant they've ever done. Even if the body type's a bit weirdly bulky, like all the Tennant figures, really.
He's a very slender man.
But that's it. So I don't think we're going to get any new monsters because it's so much easier for them to just reproduce Doctors.
What would you like to see?
So it'd have to be based on a character. It'd have to be based on a monster that would come back in the series as well. Is that what he's saying? Like, it's a monster come back, and would I buy the figure?
No, just any things you'd like.
With
to
the
see?
rebranding, would I hope that they'd release some figures? I'll be honest. At this stage, I'm not collecting them anymore, and I don't aim to.
Also, I mean,
but give me a 13th Doctor.
Yeah,
I will get that absolutely. Give me a Jodie Whittaker. Even if there's 2 variants, I'll pick up both variants.
I'm just thinking of monsters and characters, and I can't think of anything that's memorable enough.
Well, the problem is it's expensive to make the molds in terms of how much money they return.
Yeah.
So they could create a like a Fisher King from Series 9.
Well, they did a fucking Scovox Blitzer.
Yeah, but that was in the 3.75
5
inch range, which were cheaper to do. But like him, for example, like that would be an interesting figure in the 5-inch range. They have the mold; they just need to blow it up and tweak the details slightly.
Yeah.
But they won't, because based on the sales of the Scovox Blitzer and the 3-inch line, like it won't necessarily sell.
No.
So
you could.
But then you fill your shelves with old man variant, and it won't sell.
It's just not a great design.
No kids are buying Doctor Who toys now, and yet 2 years ago the collector series started with a bunch of reissues.
Yeah.
Which included only one figure people really wanted, which was the purple-coated 11th Doctor.
Yeah.
Because they'd been released before, and I'm so sorry for people who are tuning out.
No, this is good.
Purple-coated 11th Doctor was released in a Time of the Doctor set, where it was him. You could change the front of his torso so he didn't have a tie. He had the old man variant head. He had handles and a walking stick, and he had a 12th Doctor head. So, like, essentially it was a Time of the Doctor. You can create a Doctor.
Yeah.
Even though the old man head, technically, he wasn't dressed like that. So what I did was I took my Snowman 11th Doctor figure, removed his head, and put the old man head on that one. Anyway.
Surgery.
But it makes a good looking figure. It's in that box, and I really like it. But anyway, they released that one, but they released him without all the changey bits.
Yeah.
For $11.99. So it was just a solid version of his most popular outfit. Perfect. Sorted. The other figures they released was the re-release of Rose with K9, which they've released a million times. Doesn't sell. They re-released the 11th Doctor in his tweed with blue shirt with a sonic screwdriver in a box set. Doesn't sell.
No.
And they re-released, and these are on the shelves still, you can see them everywhere, they re-released Policewoman Amy, who before this was an exclusive to a TARDIS set from the end of 2010.
Okay.
It was a Christmas Carol collector's set.
Yeah. Oh, what?
Well, because technically that's how she looks in 11th Hour, but she also is dressed in the policewoman's outfit in Christmas Carol, because Rory's dressed as a Roman, and it's a Stephen Moffat script, so the implication is they're role-playing. Although the Brutes were incorrect, but never mind. But they released that figure. Now, had they released that Amy figure 4 or 5 years ago as an individual figure, it would have sold like gangbusters.
Yeah.
Now, no one's buying them. So because no one's buying the lines anyway, so they're not trying to fill the gaps in their collection. So it's pointless. So I think going forward, the only thing they're likely to do is make the 13th Doctor, and that's the only one I care about them making. But dream scenario.
Dreams can come true.
Figure of a monster or a character.
Yeah.
Dream scenario that we've never got, that I would absolutely love to have. Probably. And this is really pathetic and not that special. I would just like a Slovene variant that looks a bit more like the puppet. Because the Slovene figure is a great figure.
Okay.
But it's got the angry face with its teeth. There's none on the shelf at the minute. But
okay.
it's got the angry face with its teeth bared. I just want one with its dopey arms, with its baby face. Yeah. Like that. That's the baby Slovene from the Sarah Jane range. Like something like that.
Yeah.
That'd be lovely. Just so it looks more like the Slovene as it is in the episode. So you could have a couple different ones. Failing that, give me finally an Anthony Ainley. Because the Anthony Ainley Master figure that did come out was in a Planetfire twin pack, and he's in a suit, and if you remember, that isn't the Master. That's Chameleon.
Oh, God.
Nerd!
Oh, God.
But you know what I mean? Like, I'd like him in his frills and his velvet and stuff. Maybe with a bunch of racially questionable, swappable disguise heads.
Oh, God.
Or an Eric Roberts Master.
I was thinking of Talons of Weng Chiang the other day and the problematic elements of its cast.
And yet we have a Magnus Greel and Mr. Sin figure. So.
Oh, that's not the problem though.
Oh no, but still, like we like even that story which has not aged well in terms of
we ain't getting a Lee Sen Chang
representation.
figure anytime soon, and nor should we.
Or give me a Michael Gough Celestial Toymaker figure.
Yeah, well, yeah,
and then find the rest of Celestial Toymaker.
yes, please. Thoughts on Batman Gotham by Gaslight, or the idea of Batman vs. Jack the Ripper? I've never read Gotham by Gaslight.
I've never read it, but I've noticed the animated film's out. It was even in Asda the other day, which shows that they're finally opening their options a little bit in terms of the chart.
I've read some Batman Elseworlds. I've read The Doom That Came to Gotham, which I particularly enjoyed.
Is Gotham by Gaslight a Snyder book?
No, it's the first Elseworlds. The first Batman Elseworlds.
There'd not been any Batman Elseworlds before that?
No, that was what launched it.
Ah, okay, I did not know that.
Yeah. It's supposed to be very good, but I've never read it. Batman vs. Jack the Ripper? Well, I thought, no, that's what Elseworlds is for. Way to sit like that. Finally, from Ian, what animal is your support animal? Fictional or otherwise?
Is this in reference to that girl who apparently flushed and killed her support gerbil because she wasn't allowed to take it on a plane and then tried to sue the airline for the fact she had to, she quote-unquote had to apparently kill her gerbil?
Apparently.
Because millennials.
That's not a thing.
This happened though. This is someone on Twitter quoted it as the Logan Paul generation in a nutshell.
Oh God! Don't lump us in with that shit.
Instead of a support animal, can we have a spirit animal?
My spirit animal is a sleepy, full bear.
My support animal, my spirit animal, and my Patronus are Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson.
Hey!
That's my only pick.
That's it. That's
pick.
kind of it. That's us, ladies and gents.
That's you. That's me.
Go see the fuck out of Black Panther.
Yeah. Go devour it with your eyes and digest it with your brain. And then go back for seconds, which I think I probably will do at some point.
Yeah, I probably will.
Although first priority for us in terms of cinema, before we all meet again next week, here's your book club. Here's your required reading for next week: The Shape of Water.
Yeah, go see it because I'm going to see it tomorrow or yesterday when this comes out.
Yeah,
tomorrow as of recording.
We would be seeing it for Valentine's, but we've committed to a gym routine, so it's not happening yet.
I will be seeing it for Valentine's. Because there's nothing more romantic than Sally Hawkins fucking a fish. On that note...
Get in touch, bigdamcontact@gmail.com. Remember Big Damn Cast on Twitter if you aren't following us already. And subscribe to the Big Damn channel on the YouTubes for constant nonsense and bollocks. And hopefully more stuff as well in the very near future.
Yes.
But until then, we'll leave you with these wise words. Hey, snifflemdy.